Welcome back, mother lovers. I am Josh. This is John, and we are Last Call at McLaren's, the best damn How I Met Your Mother podcast on the interwebs in the whole damn world. Okay, maybe it's some guy in his basement who records it for himself. Still better than that. And we are here for the season 1 finale. John, how are you? And are you excited?
I am pretty excited to bring season 1 to a wrap.
Yeah.
A little sad at the same time because this episode sucks.
I mean, I don't think the episode sucks. I think it's just
No. This episode builds up my hopes and dreams, and then rips it like Marshall whipping into a lobster and dunking it in butter sauce.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I think maybe we should just rip that Band-Aid off and get right in to season 1, episode 22. Come on, which aired on May 15th of 2006, directed again by Pamela Fryman, written by Carter Bays and Craig Thomas. Of course, finishing off as summary for this episode: Ted makes a final attempt to win Robin's heart. Marshall and Lily's relationship is in jeopardy. It's a very simple summary, but leaves out a lot of nuance to what's going on in this episode. Which
it's really funny because that's such a very simplification of like this episode.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe what I'm thinking is maybe for next season and on, I might make my own summaries. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about it. We'll see how I feel about it, if I'm feeling frisky about it. All right, so we start the episode off, future Ted opening it up saying, it's May of 2006, and everything is about to change. And boy, John, was he right. Everything is about to change. At the bar, Ted is asking everyone's opinion on him going after Robin again. Now, I'll be honest, I don't understand why he even bothers asking. He knows what they're going to say.
I was going to say, he knows what they're going to say, and he knows he's not going to give two shits what they say.
Exactly. So, I feel like there's no point in him kind of trying to explain his reasonings. He kind of talks a bit about, how he's just going to let the universe do its thing, And then Barney slaps him in the face. He's like, oh, that wasn't me, man. That was the universe. I thought that was
universe.
Universe. Because the whole universe thing kind of plays throughout the episode.
It does. The one thing that makes me laugh about this conversation right here, though, is Marshall makes the comment, unless your love life is what the center of our universe is based on. And then he's like, whoa. Chills. And it's funny because that is exactly what the center of their universe is built on. How I Met Your Mother is built around Ted Mosby's dating life. Yeah. And it's just a very funny, simple throwaway line that if you're not paying attention to it, you don't think about it.
Yeah, that's a great point. It definitely is, and I think it was a good way for the creators to kind of poke fun at themselves a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So future Ted reveals that there's a big storm coming. The universe had a little something in store for him. There's a big giant storm coming. We flash over to Metro News 1, where a weatherman who happens to be Vampire Lou, just not dressed up as vampire here, and he's talking about how this big storm is coming in. And then Robin and Sandy are on the desk, and they're closing out their broadcast. And they mention that the rain means that the Metro News 1 camping trip has officially been canceled. And after they go off air, Sandy propositions Robin for sex again.
Straight out, though. Not even no sugarcoating, no innuendos, just straight we should have sex.
Yeah. And Robin, she shoots him down, but in that scene, she says some bitch. Did you catch that? Yeah. Oh. She's like, I can't remember what the exact line was, but I think it was she's talking about how do I have to pull out the whole I don't date coworkers thing again. She's like, do I have to? I think she says like, do I have to pull that sumbitch out again or something like that? But I'm like, that's something that later on Lily uses a lot.
Oh yeah,
is the phrase "sumbitch," which is
sumbitch,
and it gets all the way to the end of the series.
Well, yeah, because that's the cookies too.
Yeah.
Some bitches.
So I thought that was hilarious that specific way of saying that was brought up in season 1, and it was Robin who starts it.
True.
I think
I don't think I actually really thought about that.
Yeah, I find that in not just in this show but other shows, like things that you think of as like very character specific, a lot of times start from other characters.
Yeah.
Like this is not How I Met Your Mother, but in Scrubs, for instance, the very first Eagle is not with JD and Turk. It's with JD and Brendan Fraser's character.
Yes.
Which I think is hilarious.
So when he gets him up in the airplane space.
It's become a JD and Turk thing, but like it didn't even start there. So I think I love when we get stuff like that, and this is one of it. It's a lot smaller, but it's definitely one example of that. So we get back to the bar, and Ted says he's gonna do one more big thing to get her, one big giant fucking thing, and he's got a good plan, I gotta say. After Marshall asks what Ted could possibly do that would outdo the blue French horn stunt that he did in the pilot, we flash over to Robin's apartment where Ted is there with a string quartet, all of whom have blue instruments.
Yeah,
and like roses everywhere, and we do find out later on that there's apparently a bunch of chocolates too. I didn't look close enough to see if I could see chocolate boxes, but apparently
I'm pretty sure they're on the table next to where her keys are sitting.
Okay, that would make sense.
But here's the thing, though. Again, though, he spent all that money in the last episode.
Yeah,
Then he got her flowers, chocolates.
Yeah, like even if he didn't pay for the quartet, like even if it was just the promise of pizza, he still had to buy dozens and dozens of roses. And those shits ain't cheap.
No, they're not.
They are not cheap. He spent hundreds of dollars on flowers. So it's like, where are you getting all this money, dude?
Where am I going wrong in my life that I don't have this kind of money to just be blown on people?
Maybe he's like, maybe he's, selling crack on the corner or something. I don't know, man. Or it would probably be more likely since, he's like an architect, probably knows some like kind of fancier people. It's probably like more like cocaine.
Probably.
Like straight up.
I could see that.
Throwing some bags of powder around. That's how he do.
I can see that.
Yeah. So then Robin approaches the apartment, but then she realizes she left her keys inside and she's locked out. So she calls Lily about her spare key, which Lily gave to Ted to pull off this whole stunt. And Lily suggests just knock. Just knock.
And I love Robin. She's like, my dogs aren't that good at opening.
The dogs aren't that smart, Lily. Come on. But before that happens, we see Marshall come out of the bedroom. He heads over to
he comes in from outside.
Was he outside? Okay, I just remember kind of coming in into the room, and he plays a message on the answering machine. Answering machine, kids, it's like voicemail, but it's a separate machine. It's a separate machine for what's called a landline phone. Yep. I know it's got wires and shit. Yeah, I know you're confused. Go cuddle up with a teddy bear and deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. Things were different when we were younger. Just saying. 15 years ago, man. Wow, it's been 15 years. Yeah, that's crazy. Since this episode, 15 years. Anyways, back on track. He hits play, and it is a message to Lily about the art fellowship in San Francisco. And the lady is saying that she was approved. Because like we said in the last episode, Lily essentially tells Ted that she got it. At least that's what we're meant to believe. That's what they're leading us to believe in that episode, is that she got the fellowship and that she's just not going to take it. But then we find out here that she's now officially getting the fellowship.
Yeah.
So who knows what she was actually trying to say? I don't know. I think it's just that it went well. So she got it, and he's confused. He doesn't really understand what that means. He's not like, he doesn't seem suspicious. He's just like, what fellowship? Or he doesn't know what's going on. And so Lily's just because she's still on the phone with Robin. She's just like, just knock, and then hangs up because she has to deal with this.
Oh yeah, she does.
So we go back to Robin, and so she's like, okay, I'll knock. And she knocks on the door, and Ted opens it, roses in hand, quartet playing, and he lays it all out on the line for her, man. He's crazy for her, and he wants to give this a shot. And Robin is like, she's so like, she's thrown off, she's confused and shocked. She doesn't know what's going on, and she's unsure. She doesn't know quite how to respond. And so she winds up going to the bathroom. She has to pee. And Ted's talking to the musicians about the pizza a little bit, which is funny. The one dude, he's like, man, I thought you said we were going to get pizza.
There was supposed to be pizza. And he's like, we'll get the pizza.
We'll get the pizza. We're not getting pizza. and I'll be honest, I don't think they ever got the pizza.
Probably not. I thought about that, and I was like, they probably did not, because they like rushed them outside after she comes back.
Yeah,
and we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. So when she finally comes back from the bathroom, they send, like you said, they send that quartet out, and they just start talking.
Yep, but we never see the quartet again.
And why is that?
Probably fucking starved to death.
They never got their pizza.
They never got the pizza.
Maybe they got so like hard up for pizza that they went and robbed a pizza shop and got it, and they are all sitting in prison now.
Maybe.
You never know.
I can see that.
Life.
That dude was really jonesing for that pizza, man.
He was, man, and life takes you in strange turn. Just saying.
Oh man.
Life is strange that way. So Robin is she's worried about ruining the relationship that they have, the friendship that they have. And she also reveals that the previously canceled camping trip is now back on. According to Weatherman Lou, the storm is now heading back from, is heading away from the city and out into the ocean. And so the whole camping trip thing is going to happen. And Ted, he's not happy about all this.
He kind of goes into a slight dick mode with this, though.
He does, man. Because
she's like, I'm still going to go on this camping trip. And he instantly attacks her, and he's like, you're going to go still? And she's like, well, yeah. And he's like, and you're going to go with Sandy. Yeah. And she's like, well, yeah. And he's like, you're going to sleep with them. She's like, I don't know. And he's like, yes, you are. And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah. He really gets, like you said, dickish on her.
Yeah, it's a dick move, man. Like, you have no say in who she messes around with.
Yeah. During this, in the midst of all this, we get a scene from Inside Metro News 1, where we get the reveal that Sandy Rivers is leaving the station. He got a job at CNN. And he told Robin that he suggested her for the lead anchor spot, and that they're going to be announcing that soon. So that is what kind of prompts her to warm up toward him more and accept the date that he asked her on before. And that's why she's telling Ted, that she doesn't know what's going to happen, but she's doing this because she feels like she has to move on with her own life. You know what I mean? In a way, even because she doesn't think things are going to happen there. Because deep down, she still loves Ted. She wants to be with Ted, but she doesn't think anything's actually going to happen, and that she doesn't think they could actually be together. Especially after what we saw in the van trip from the last episode. God, yeah. He's talking about this perfect girl. How he wants kids and wants to get married. And she flat out says, I don't want kids.
Yeah.
And
I
so
mean,
like
not to mention all the shit that happened with Victoria probably still weighing in there. And
yeah, and so it's like just because she may have feelings for him doesn't mean she's gonna let herself get hurt in the end if
True.
she thinks it's not gonna work out in the end. So Ted says that he needs an answer, and he says that she is too afraid to live in the real world, and that if it's not a yes, then it's a no, and that there's no maybe, there's no I don't knows, and she can't say yes because she doesn't know, and for Ted that means it's a no, and he's done. At least we think at this moment that he is done. Then we go,
for all of 5 minutes.
not even for like 5 seconds, because literally right after this we go back to the bar and the gang is trying to console Ted, and Ted's like, "No, I'm not done." I'm gonna
jump on his shit, and I'm so glad they do because like they're like, "You said all you wanted was to know, and you were done," and he's like, "Nope, nope, nope. I'm gonna make it rain."
Yeah, he's gonna do something. So him and Barney go up to the bar, and at the bar, Barney he's trying to tell him, that it's over. She's gonna hook up with Sandy, and only an act of God is gonna stop this. And that's where Ted's like, if an act of God is what it takes, then an act of God is what he's gonna give.
I don't think making it rain is an act of God, though.
I mean, technically, that's what it's considered. Like flooding and stuff is like insurance-wise is what they call it, "quote unquote" act of God. Things like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. While him and Barney are up at the bar, Lily and Marshall hit unpause on a fight that they're having about the Fellowship. This is where we learn about the whole pause thing. I don't honestly remember if they bring that up ever again in the series. Do they do pause fights later on?
Dude, all the time. Remember they do the pause during like there's the multiple fight episode where like there's like,
oh yeah, where like we start seeing them all over the place. Yeah.
They do pause all the time, but they do it so nonchalantly.
Yeah, that's what I'm just like, I can't even remember. It doesn't stick out, I think is what it is.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. If I can ever get myself into another decent relationship, I'm gonna bring the pause theory in. Yeah. Where like it has to be a really good reason to pause though.
Yeah.
Like they do the pause because they're hungry at one point. And I'm like, that's a great use of the pause.
And then there's another one later on where even Marshall says it's a great use of the pause. But yeah, so they unpause on a fight that they're having about the Fellowship. She claims that she was never gonna take it, and we all know that this is bullshit. She sits here and she tries to make excuses, just like Ted, throughout all the stuff that he does. She tries to make excuses as to why she went ahead and did it in the first place. And I was never gonna take it. Well, like it. No, like I feel like you shouldn't need to know that you could get it. You already did Paris. We talked about that in the last episode. She already did Paris. Why do you need to know that you could get this one then? If you need that validation, why don't you see if you can find one close by that where if you end up wanting it, you could do it?
Well, not trying to jump too far ahead into the future of things to come anyway, but she does this Fellowship.
Yeah.
And then she ends up not even fulfilling it. She doesn't even stay the whole time.
Yeah.
Because she's no good.
Yeah.
But then she continues to paint anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. She likes painting and shit. But I'm like, you almost risked your marriage for this. You threw away like 9 years of dating somebody to do this. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because it's funny to me because there's another show that did a very similar storyline, and that's The Office. Pam goes to New York and she spends like 3 months out there doing this thing, this graphic design thing. But her and Jim talked about it. It wasn't just like, boom, I'm doing this. Bye. What I mean? And that's the difference. Lily was too... I don't think Marshall would have necessarily stopped her if it was something she really, really wanted to do.
I don't think had there been communication about it, Marshall would have stopped her at all.
Yeah.
Marshall would have been understanding because that's the person he is.
Yeah.
And that is definitely the person he becomes. Yeah. But this was all done behind his back.
Yeah.
And he even makes a comment later on where he's like, well, I don't know, there's just this thing coming up in a couple months, like our wedding. He's like, I thought you might actually want to be there.
Yeah.
And honestly, the way he says it is like, I don't want to say he's being an asshole. He's aggressive about it.
Well, I mean, I feel like at that stage he has the right to be kind of an asshole and be pissed off because of all of what she did here.
Absolutely. And I'm not even arguing that. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it just shows that it really hurts him. Like,
yeah.
Like Marshall and Lily, like you said, they've been together since like pretty much the first week of college. Like,
yeah.
And they survived Paris. They could have survived San Francisco.
Yeah, I agree. And like, yeah, it bumped up to the wedding or whatever, it overlapped. And like, if this was a thing that she truly, truly wanted, I feel like Marshall would have been okay postponing the wedding, like pushing it back, finding a new, like, yes, they wouldn't have the Van Smoot house. Okay. I mean, they wind up not having it anyways because they don't have the wedding.
There anyway.
So like, they could have just pushed it back, found a new place. She could have done her thing and things would have been okay. They would have survived. We thought at least that they were a stronger couple than they were back in college. But I mean, she's obviously having issues. But if she had just talked to him about it, I don't think any of it would have happened. But
yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know. Anywho, so Ted decides he's gonna make it rain, like you said. And he tells Barney to call a girl that he used to hook up with who studied Native American culture so that she can teach him a rain dance. And Barney slaps him again. We saw that in the last episode where Barney slaps him in the face. This is just kind of becoming a regular thing. And it's funny because it's like... not far, because I think it's episode 9 of season 2 is the slap bet. So it's not that far away that the slap bet happens. And
that's what I said. Like this episode, like they open it up with like the whole Destiny talk and shit, and bam, Destiny. Sorry, or that was the last episode.
No, that was the last episode. Yeah.
But like, still though.
But then we get a slap here. So like they're introducing the slaps. And I'm wondering if they had the plan for the slap bet thing, and they're just like, we're introducing these slaps to kind of get people used to it, maybe?
Yeah,
or it was just coincidence. I don't know. Either way, it's funny when Ted gets slapped. And so we flash over to a library where Ted and Barney are with this girl. Her name is Penelope, and she's played by Amy Acker. For those of you who don't know, Amy Acker was on the show Angel. She was also on the show Dollhouse. And this means that there are 4 Joss Whedon actors in this episode alone. We got, obviously, Allison Hannigan, who was in Buffy, and Neil Patrick Harris, who's in Dr. Horrible. But then Alexis Denisof, who plays Sandy Rivers, was on both Buffy and Angel. And now Amy Acker, who was in Angel. So
it was like a reunion for them.
Yeah, just keeping it in the family, man. I think it's really cool. And this girl is angry with Barney. She does not want to help. They apparently slept together twice, and he never called her. There's some stuff about her mom. Yeah, apparently
he hits on her mom. He's like, we weren't exclusive.
Yeah, I was just like, well, it is Barney, so.
I think it's kind of funny though that she mentions though that they've slept together twice, because that's kind of a break in Barney's character.
Yeah, well, I mean. Later on, it is. We don't know that yet.
True.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's stuff in this season that kind of contradicts what Barney's character is later on. The whole driving thing that we talked about in the previous episode, and now and then this, and there's been other things as well. But yeah, it's definitely him sleeping with the same girl twice is not something that happens very often at all.
No,
it
no,
does
not at all.
happen another time in this season, though.
Yes.
Remember the bridesmaid?
Yes.
He calls her up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you want to get together again?"
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah, because he's like, yeah, well, I'm not shipping out until tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tonight. Like,
yeah. So like, it does happen a few times.
I ain't
in
gonna
this
be able to
season.
make Foxy boxing.
But yeah, in general, that's a thing that he doesn't typically do later on.
Yeah, no, not at
all. So Ted tries to appeal to like her romantic side, because he's doing this for a girl and all this stuff. And she eventually agrees because, she doesn't like Barney and she doesn't, want. I don't know. She eventually agrees to it because of how much she does not like Barney.
Well, yeah, because she asked when he starts talking about like the girl.
Yeah.
He says like she's gonna end
Sandy.
up with the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And she's like, is he stupid like Barney? And he's like,
yeah.
Yes. And she's like, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because she doesn't want she doesn't want this girl to be with someone that's like Barney, which I get.
Can't say I blame him.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then we're up on the roof. I'm assuming this is just the roof to their apartment. I assume, because I don't know what other roof they would have access to.
I don't know, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's their roof.
Yeah. And she starts showing Ted how to do a rain dance. He gets started. So we flip over to Robin. She's at the vet. Her dog apparently ate a bunch of the chocolate that Ted brought for her. And she's talking to the vet about Ted and what he did. And she's like, like, what kind of guy does that? It's kind of crazy, right? And she's like, yeah, what kind of guy does that? She's like, no guy does that. And she's like, yeah, exactly. And she's like, no, Robin, no one does that.
Nope.
And she's right. Ted has always been a big moment kind of guy. And we see that throughout the series.
Now, not to sidetrack too much off of this conversation, but you ever done anything big?
Oh, I
know for a fact you have.
Have I?
Yep.
I'm trying to remember. What did I do that was big?
You remember the time you learned how to make sushi?
Oh yeah, I did, dude. That was
a big gesture. Might not have been like string quartet, but I mean,
yeah. I was like, I don't think I've done anything Ted Mosby big, like that, or like the 2-minute date, or what was the other one? The because he sings a little song about it. It was like the ultimate date one.
Oh, the super date.
Super date. That's what it was.
Super
yeah.
Date.
Super.
But that wasn't for him though. That's for Barney and.
No, but he sets it. But it's his idea. You know what I mean? He has a lot of big ideas when it comes to relationship stuff.
I mean, I can name off a couple of things you and I have done. There's definitely the sushi. There was the night me and you did the 1 month anniversary with each other. Well, it wasn't for each other. Let me rephrase that. It was when we were dating Sarah and Mary, and we did like the big double date that we all got dressed up for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've definitely done big gestures before that are like, it was blow up in my face, but
yeah, that happens. But big gestures. That's Ted's thing. This vet, she what she says, it kind of gets Robin thinking. I think it primes her for what's to come later on.
I do believe so.
It makes her think about, nobody but Ted Mosby would do something that, it may be crazy, but that's him.
Well, I mean, you've seen it all throughout the series, like season 8 when Robin finds out she can't have kids, or it might be 7.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
There's the big Christmas episode.
Yeah.
And like she walks into the apartment and he's got all the lights rigged up to Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
And he's like, because the big argument there is like it's not his job to cheer her up. And she walks in and it goes and he comes out from behind her and he's like, yes, it is. Yeah. And she gives him the big hug. And it's like when she finds out she can't have kids and shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's his thing though. Ted always goes big.
Yeah.
And like Ted's a horrible closer on dating somebody, but his gestures are what brings it home.
Yeah, man.
Like you said, the 2-minute date, the super date, the fucking I mean, you can even go as far to say the butterfly tattoo. I was holding it together until you laughed.
Shit. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, anyway, so we get back at the apartment. Lily and Marshall, they're still fighting.
Yep.
And everything that she's feeling is coming back up. Lily is she's set that this is what she wants. No, she needs to do this fellowship.
Now she's like, well, I need to do this. And Marshall's like, oh, so we go from you weren't going to do this at all to now you need it?
Yeah.
And then pause.
Because it's a huge difference from just a few episodes ago where she's really just the previous episode, really, because she's like, I'm not gonna go through with this.
Yeah.
And yet, all of a sudden, boom, she is gonna do this, and she needs to do it. Because I think deep down she already had made up her mind, and she just didn't want to admit it to herself. And it got me thinking while I was prepping this episode. In an earlier episode, like I talked about before, Marshall makes that whole comment about Lily studying abroad in Paris and how it almost killed the relationship. So we know that she's already done this. She's already gone abroad. She's already studied far away from Marshall. And so I don't buy her reasoning that she says that she comes up with this whole excuse that she wants the opportunity to travel and study abroad. It's like, well, you have traveled. Yeah. You have studied abroad.
I mean, shit, you went to fucking Paris.
Yeah, you went to Paris. What the fuck is San Francisco going to give you that you couldn't have gotten in Paris? And I understand it's been several years since that, but she makes it sound like she has done nothing in the 9 years that they've been together. But that's not true.
It's weird, though, because at the same time, if you mirror this to the fight they have at the beginning of season 9, when Marshall takes the judgeship and she gets they can go to Italy.
Yeah.
Like, there's the huge fight about it. And she's like, well, why do my dreams always have to get put on hold?
Yeah.
And it's like, first off, bitch, you walked out on an engagement.
Yeah.
You walked out a month before your wedding to fucking run to San Francisco. Don't you even throw that in Marshall's face.
Yeah, and she
have your moments.
And she's done it twice.
Yeah.
She went to Paris for her dream. She went to San Francisco for her dream. And guess what? It didn't work out.
No.
And yet she's throwing that shit in his face?
Yeah, it's like, so when does he get to live his dreams?
Yeah, exactly.
He's fucking been going straight through school. He's been working his ass off. He finally gets to be a fucking federal judge, though, and you're going to be like, oh, fuck you?
Yeah. And she gets, and like, this is obviously because we're jumping into season 9, really, but she gets her way again.
Yeah.
And they go to Italy. So she gets Paris, she gets San Francisco, she gets Italy. She gets all her dreams.
Yeah.
And Marshall wanted this wedding. Doesn't happen. Marshall wanted to be a judge. Gets put on hold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all this stuff gets put on hold for him. And yet she's making him feel like she gets nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I'm curious. I'll be curious if we get more examples of that throughout the show as we're going. I'll be interested to see how that all just kind of shapes up. But yeah, this whole thing has just been an excuse for her to run away from the mounting pressures of marriage and everything. And as somebody who went through their wife at the time doing that, essentially deciding that they wanted to go back and have that life that they had before that they didn't really get to have as much of. I get Marshall's frustration and anger about it.
Well, and it's like I get why he gets frustrated too, because like it's dropped on him last minute, and like we said, he's a very open guy. Like, he gives her so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all Marshall ever wants in this show is for Lily to be happy.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Yeah, that's all he wants. You know, he wants a life with the woman that he loves. And that's it.
Yep.
And during this fight, Marshall, you know, angrily just throws out, well, if you're, you know, what's going to change in 3 months? Nothing's going to change in 3 months. You know, if you're having these feelings now, maybe we just shouldn't get married. And Lily's like, yeah, well, maybe we shouldn't. And that's where they pause.
Yeah.
They're both like, what the fuck did we both just say? You know what I mean?
And then they're both like, oh, we're hungry. We should go get food.
Yeah, let's go get some food.
I love Marshall. Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
Because honestly, this scene, because like then they flash. Sorry, I don't mean to take your beat. Because they flash over to Red Lobster, and they show them eating, and Marshall's got like a fucking lobster, and he's like, I dare you to say something about lobster and butter sauce. And as he's dunking it, he's like,
yeah, he starts just fucking bawling. And then, you know, like Lily's trying to like get him to stop and all this.
She's like, there's no crying in Pause Land. And like, and then she starts crying.
Yeah. And so I was listening to the commentary on this because there's an audio commentary on this. Apparently, the whole reason why Red Lobster is used in this episode is because it was a sponsor, and they even like directly. So like that this scene happens and there's a commercial break. You can tell that there's a commercial cut.
Yeah.
Directly after that scene, the first commercial that pops up was this program is brought to you by Red Lobster, and they show a Red Lobster commercial apparently.
Nice.
So yeah, the whole reason that they did Red Lobster, and they actually brought in actual like real food, like real lobster stuff for them to eat, was because it was a big sponsor for the episode.
I wonder if they got cheddar biscuits.
Hey man, I would hope so. You know, if they're gonna get it all. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was a cool little tidbit.
That is actually pretty badass.
So then we head back to the roof, and Ted is there. He's doing his rain dance. And he finds out that Penelope has never actually seen a rain dance in person, only on a film strip.
Yeah.
But she has read extensively. What was that?
She goes, because he's like, have you ever seen a real rain dance? And she's like, well, I saw a film strip. He goes, well, I got to leave. I'm going to go have brain surgery done by a guy who's seen a couple of episodes of ER.
Yeah.
And I laughed because here's my argument to this. They never show extensive surgery like a brain surgery on ER.
Oh, okay.
From a guy who's watched all 15 seasons, I know this.
Yeah, and recently, you know, it wasn't that long ago. It was like what, last year?
Yeah. This time last year, I was binge watching 15 seasons of ER.
Yeah. So I think it's Ted being frustrated and going instantly over to dick mode.
Well, I mean, he has every reason to be. Like, he thinks this is his, and I get it. But he thinks this is his one big chance to win Robin over. He needs this. He's digging into that desperation mode, and he's giving it his all. And this girl's like, yeah, no, I've never actually seen a real one. And he's like, well, fuck you.
Yeah,
and he's like,
pretty much.
And then she leaves.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, she's not needed at this point. And we never see her again.
No, we do.
We do. She's at the end of the episode. You're right.
Yeah.
I can't even say it then. Damn it, you're right. And I thought about that right as you said that too. I'm like, oh no.
It's true.
Then goes back to it.
Yep, he goes back to it. But then we head back to the apartment. Lily and Marshall, they're wondering, like, how did we get to this point? And Lily, she just wants Marshall's support, but he can't because he's afraid that she won't come back, you know, and which is understandable, you know, with the way that she's feeling and everything that she's saying. I mean, I probably would doubt that too, you know, that she would actually come back. And Lily says that she can't guarantee that won't happen. And that's the problem, you know? It's like he's afraid she won't come back, but she can't guarantee that she will.
Yeah.
And it's like, then obviously you are not in this.
Right.
You know? It's like if you could say, I'm going to do this fellowship, and yes, I will be back. You know, I love you. I want to be with you. I just need to do this. I think he could have gotten on board.
Probably.
Even after all the lies, I think he could have gotten on board. But she is so determined to not lock herself into anything that she's just allowing herself to throw everything away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking to watch, which I understand why you don't like watching this season because of that.
I mean, I've had my own personal heartbreak over shit very similar to this, and it's like, I can't. It hurts. It digs.
Maybe what you need to do is like cherry pick your episodes from season 1.
Ooh,
like
maybe.
when you binge watch, just like watch only because like we went through and we watched a lot of great episodes this season. You're like, oh yeah, man, that's a great episode, and just watch those and then move on to season 2.
I mean, if I'm gonna just rewatch, maybe I'll just do what most people are doing now and just listen to the blog.
There you go. Gotta listen, folks. Listen to us ramble on about it. Boom. Because right now we're about to bank all of season 1 right here. I hope you guys are enjoying it.
Let's do it.
Yes. But like I said, Lily can't guarantee it. And Marshall says that they might as well break up if she can't, because he doesn't want to wait 3 months to then get his heart broken anyways.
Yeah.
You know, to get his heart ripped out, he says. And right here, Lily calls a pause, and Marshall's like, no. She's like, pause. He's like, no, why? And she's like, she just screams pause and just leaps onto him and starts kissing him. And Marshall has a great response. You know, this is a great use of the pause, man. It was a great line.
Well, you know, they had sex before they split. Like,
oh yeah, man. Even in the commentary, the actors comment, they're like, yeah, man, breakup sex is the best, which I thought was hilarious. All right, so back on the roof, Ted still doing the rain dance.
Yep.
Barney thinks he's stupid for it, but you know, Ted believes. You know, he so desperately needs this to happen.
Yep.
I don't know what he would do with himself if it didn't happen, to be honest with you.
He probably would have I don't know. He probably would have went into a really like depressive state.
Yeah.
Most designs has failed depression.
Most designs has failed. Yeah, it would have been something like that. So Ted proclaims that he's in love with Robin and that this has to work. Has to work. He starts yelling at the universe for it to rain. He's like, come on. Come on. Come on. And then lightning and thunder just crack and it pours. It just like the sky just opens up. And Barney's just like, oh, come on. He can't believe that this is happening, that it actually worked. Which, yeah, it's crazy. You know,
now here's my thing. You ever done a rain dance?
I have not. Oh, wait, no. I did one time, and I think it was like in high school.
Did it work?
I don't remember, to be totally honest with you. It was so long ago. But yeah, I do vaguely remember somebody having me do that way back in the day. Yeah. I hope it worked. I don't remember. But then we flash over to the bar. And Barney is sitting there. He's still shocked that it worked. And he's sitting there with Penelope, and they have a drink together to essentially, you know, to toast that it worked. And then they start making out.
Oh yeah, like hardcore making out too.
Yeah, and she is never seen again. And why is that, John?
Because she probably fucking killed herself.
That's true.
I mean, she did sleep with Barney 3 times.
That's also true. Apparently, during the audio commentary, I found out that apparently her and Neil are like best of friends.
No shit.
Yeah, and it was apparently really awkward for them to do that scene. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, and then so Ted takes a cab over to Robin's house and stands outside in the rain calling for her. They talk from her window. He says that he made it rain.
Down here.
Yeah, you gotta come down here. This whole scene kind of mirrors a bit of what we got in the pilot of him standing outside, her with her head out the window, the dog and everything. It's like they're bookending season 1 with that, which is cool. They then, of course, do it again at the end of season 9 as well. They bookended the whole series that way, but they bookended season 1 with it as well. Okay, so real quick, they pointed this out in the commentary. I didn't actually catch it until I watched it with the commentary. She has her head out the window, but she stays dry the entire time. Like she has her head out the window.
Yeah.
Like her hair and her clothes are dry. But then as soon as she comes in from the window, she's
soaking wet. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought was so like, I didn't catch it the 2 times I watched. I just didn't notice it.
I caught it the time I watched it, but I was like, well, maybe there was a deleted scene that showed like she got wet, but like,
yeah, nope, nope, just
continuity error.
Because like she should have been wet. It makes sense that she would have been wet.
Oh, she was wet.
Oh, she was wet. And then so she comes in from the window. She's like, it looks like she's about to head off like to like her room or something, but she kind of glances at the blue French horn, and it just hits her. She decides she's gonna go down, but when she opens up the door, Ted is already there. He couldn't wait, and they kiss, and then they spend the night together. They finally hook up because they hadn't actually done it at this point.
No.
It almost happened, but then the whole thing with Victoria and the lie and everything happened.
Yep.
And they were just finally becoming friends again. But he finally got to hit that shit. And then when he gets home, so like he had a great night. Everything worked out for him.
Yep.
He's flying high. And then he gets home. It's still raining. And he gets out of the cab, and Marshall is sitting on the stoop in the rain, and he shows Ted Lily's engagement ring, and she's gone. There's no dialogue. It's all context, but she has left, and Ted and Marshall sit on the stoop at the end of the episode, just sitting there in the rain, and that's how the show ends. That's how the season ends.
Yep.
And it was rough, man. It tears you apart to see Marshall like that, it's like in universe. It's like how does Ted handle this? Like
I mean, the way he
just had like the most amazing thing happen to him.
Yep.
And so he's flying high, but he has to be there for his devastated best friend.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that's got to be gut wrenching. And it's not just that. It's like Lily was his close friend too. You know what I mean? He says it later, like in season 2, after she comes back. She didn't just leave Marshall. Like I think Barney says it, but it applies to Ted as well. But like she didn't just leave Marshall. She left everybody.
Everybody.
Her best friend is Robin. She left her. You know what I mean? Her and Barney are really close. I mean, sometimes you don't see it, but they are.
Yeah.
And her and Ted, and she left. She didn't just leave Marshall. She leaves everybody, and it hurts, And so, John, it is that time. I want to get your thoughts on this episode and the season overall.
Season overall is a really great season. I can't. I've been through my own heartache, and it's kind of rips that Band-Aid.
Yeah, it's hard.
You've been there to help pick me up enough times, man. And I mean, it's been mutual because there's been a few times where I've gotten to help pick you up. It does you up after some serious. I can think of 2 specifically, but I mean, it's rough. I always hate the season finale. It's the worst one out of all of them. It breaks my heart every time. But I like the season. It's a great first season. There's not many shows that get a first season like this. The only other one that ever really made my day watching the first season over and over was Scrubs.
Oh, yeah. I just recently watched the first season. I'm like, this is solid stuff.
Same. And I went back to the last time I went back to watch it just to see some of the stuff you were talking about with like Neil Flynn's character and stuff like that. But
yeah,
How I Met Your Mother, man, this show is a staple in what developed my dating life, like my current dating life.
Yeah,
it's allowed me to realize that sometimes being a Ted Mosby isn't a bad thing, but sometimes being a Barney Stinson isn't a bad thing either.
Yeah.
But in reality, we all want to be a Marshall Erickson, man. We want to find our Lily. We want to find that person.
Yep.
So I mean, I loved the first season, and I forgot how much I really loved this show. So doing this podcast with you is really re-solidified why I love How I Met Your Mother so much.
Agreed, man. Agreed. It's been great to go back and watch it with such a microscope.
Yes.
To dive into the things and find things that I never saw before and make the connections that make the show even better.
There's so many things I'm still looking forward to. Yeah. Especially season 2 brings one of my favorite moments. Yeah. And that's let's go to the mall, everybody.
Yeah, buddy.
That's one of my favorite moments in the show. I still sing that song and have it on multiple playing devices. That song elevates me. It pumps me up, man.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I love it.
I love Slap Bet. Slap Bet comes back around so many different times.
Well, it's the same episode.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like the slap comes back.
Oh, yeah. So many times. It creates such a cool little thing.
I will say this in a code because I know you'll understand this. There's going to be a point to when we get to talking about the slap that I can bring out something I own because of the slap.
Yes.
Yes.
It's going to be. Yes. I mean, it'll be a while, but yes.
It will, but it's still going to be here.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for that. It's going to be a good time. But yeah, that is season 1, episode 22. Come on, the season finale of How I Met Your Mother.
Which you know what that means.
Yeah, it is that time, folks. Barney's blog. Suit up, bitches.
Bitches.
That's right, and it is the season finale of Barney's blog. You know it. And so this entry into Barney's blog is called Waterbed's Deathbed. and it was written on Tuesday, May 16th of 2016 at 12:35 p.m. And so what this blog is all about, he talks about how he just essentially lost his waterbed.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's with a woman, and apparently she punctured the mattress with her teeth.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you've ever been on a waterbed that has been punctured.
No,
it's not pleasant. My aunt has I think she still has a waterbed, to be honest with you. But she had a waterbed, and I remember it blew out one time, and just water went everywhere.
I thought those things were supposed to be decently durable, though.
Yeah, they are supposed to be.
How the fuck do you puncture one with your teeth?
It's funny because what he says specifically, he says, last week when a feisty physical therapist punctured my mattress with her teeth. So it's like, I don't know what she was doing, but it definitely involved the teeth. There's a funny thing here. It says, untangling under the shower of my bed's final gasps, I removed my blindfold to discover I was weeping. Fortunately, Tina's face was still wedged between the box spring and frame, saving me from further embarrassment. Just like, okay, man. I don't know what the fuck she was doing that her face was wedged between the box spring and the frame. But, yeah. So he goes on, he talks about, he's like, I've broken hundreds of beds in my duty as a gentleman caller. King beds, bunk beds, trundle beds, even a Murphy bed. But through it all, the Pequod apparently is what the name of his bed is. held strong through the encounter after this aerobatic encounter in my apartment. Sponging through the wreckage, it occurred to me that this was my best and most regular sex partner. The bed was always willing to try anything once, never complaining about the bunnies I'd bring home. No attempts to at pillow talk, and so he decides he has to get a new bed, and so he says that he's going to initiate a new bed search, and he shares some special memories from his time in the water bed. Now, these memories, they're just like it's like here's like a name, what he calls it, and then like some of them have like a short description. They don't go into a lot of detail, and there's one that has like zero detail. Technically, two. They have zero detail, which I found kind of funny. But so I'm going to go through. There's 10 very special moments that he wants to share about his waterbed. The first one is my almost four-way. It says, very technically, one was an animal, but numbers rarely lie. I want to know more about some of these, man. I'm just putting that out there. Professional surfer chick. He just says, wow. Then he has one that's just says the handstand, and there's no explanation. That's all it is, the handstand.
I mean, a handstand on a waterbed is pretty fucking impressive.
That's true. St. Patty's Day Parade, 98. One day, 6 guests. Yeah. St. Patty's Day Parade, 2000. 5 guests. All right. This next one, I want to know more about. I really do. Pogo Kate. And it just says, "Nuff said." I'm like, no, not enough said. I want to know. Like, give me something here, man. What the hell? Then this one's funny. Sunday morning crosswords. Just kidding. And that's funny because that's a Ted thing.
Yeah,
doing the Sunday morning, doing the crosswords thing. So I thought that was a fun little jab at Ted. Bicycle bed. It says affixing pedals to the ceiling. Genius. The Bolshevik Revolution, replacing the water with vodka and hooking up a straw.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then the hairdryer snafu, nearly electrocuting myself one evening with a cosmetologist. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, man, you got to be careful with that shit. And then he ends off the blog entry saying, I will miss you, Pequod, but you will not be forgotten. Your old headboard hangs from the wall as a memorial to our special times together, and also as a shelf for handcuffs. Yeah. So it's funny because I don't remember if you said this. I think you said this off air, that you think that the first time we see his bed, it's a regular bed.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the first time we see his bed it's when he sleeps with Robin. And he does that
would make sense that he just has a regular bed now.
Yeah.
But I feel like later on in the series, he gets another waterbed. Because I feel like I remember seeing a waterbed at some point in his apartment.
I don't remember seeing one, but because I remember he has the normal bed. Yeah. Because Robin gets out of it and he does the click for the B peg save. And then he's got the Hobie gone. Yeah. Patented pending.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember there being a waterbed.
It'll be interesting if it pops back up, because then I'll be like, there's that waterbed. Because that would have meant that he decided he wanted to get another waterbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he does not have one. He lost his poor waterbed, Pequod. Sorry, Pequod. Rest in peace.
Pequod.
Have you ever slept or done anything on a waterbed?
Never done anything on a waterbed, but I've definitely slept on a waterbed.
I have done stuff on a waterbed.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
I will go as further to say I know you did shit with my cousin on a waterbed.
That's true. Many a time. I gotta say, it's a good time. If you ever get the chance, I recommend it.
I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there because you know what they say: no woman can resist the motion of the ocean.
There it is. Up top. Well, folks, that about wraps up this episode and this season of Last Call at McLaren's. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Yeah, we will be back for season 2.
We got a couple fun surprises in store for season 2.
Oh yeah, keep an eye out, especially for those of you who watch the podcast. There's going to be some good stuff. I highly recommend checking out the video, so that you can see what happens here. But yeah, I mean, I got nothing else for him, John. What do you got? One last time for season 1.
You don't have to go home, but you can't listen here.
That's right. Catching season 2, mother lovers.